Hello and welcome to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania for Sedgley Splits, a BS Upshot tournament. Today we're at Sedgley Woods playing the Yellow Tees. I'm Dave Oster, here to bring you today's commentary. So we have a special 5-player card here full of local up-and-coming amateur players from the Philadelphia and surrounding areas. So a lot of golf to get to. We have Robert Staas, Alex Cruz, Matt Hyzinski, Gabriel Grove, and Jesse Kuch-Laskowski. All from, like I said, the Pennsylvania area. So we're going to get started here on the Yellow Tees here at Sedgley Woods. Robert Staas up first. Alex Cruz. Nice kick back to the fairway. Does pull a little bit, but in the fairway is not the worst place to be. Matt Hyzinski will be up third. A little early, but looks like it might have got a favorable tree kick back into the fairway as well. Gabriel Grove. Right down the middle, little hyzer. And skips its way up to maybe circle's edge. Great shot. Jesse last up on the card. And just a bit too high. This is not the easiest first hole, very low ceiling. Like I mentioned earlier, all 5 of these players are amateurs. Likely never been on camera, so it's an awesome opportunity to get to see these players, but will also be a new challenge that they probably haven't faced before in the added pressure of being on camera. So the first shots off the tee, other than Gabe, might have just been some first hole nerves added with camera nerves. Rob here having to go with the overhand. A lot of ground play. Gets to maybe 40 feet. Should have a look at a putt to save his par. Matt over here on the left side. Throwing an anhyzer. Doesn't get as much ground play as it looked like he was hoping for. So he'll have a long look to save his par. Alex, maybe a half bid, half just kind of laying it up. It does slope down behind the basket. So running it too high will give you a long comebacker. Rob here for par, and he nails it. And I believe that's Alex over there behind a tree, not able to connect on his par save. And saving the group with the only birdies so far. Gabe is under par, and I believe coming into this round he was the lowest rated. So, being in the lead after one hole, pretty good. So the rest of these guys will be tapping in their bogeys. 1 par by Rob and 1 birdie by Gabe. As we'll head into hole 2. Gabe going with the forehand. Trying to throw the flex, isn't quite flex enough. This is easily the longest hole on the course, but does play downhill. So forehand flex is a good line. We saw Gabe kind of just saw it off a little bit. Backhand turnover. There is some room up high, but you got to really get it there. The forehand kind of straight shot can also work, but you do have to push that left side like Alex was trying to do. He's going to wind up in the rough over by Gabe. Matt trying with the backhand turnover. Maybe just a little bit too high, little nose up. But he'll be down there. He probably got a good 330. Have a easy up and down, hopefully. Jesse's similar line. And he's going to wind up actually a little bit further, kind of scooting over to the next fairway a little bit. And Rob is definitely on a different hole right now, going up and over the top, just trying to get back into play. And winds up in the woods, but near the basket, so we'll see where he ends up and see if he has a look. Gabe actually does have a little forehand window out towards the basket, just a bit too high. Sedgley Woods obviously not the longest. Oh, as Alex runs right by the basket, chain high. Not the longest track, but certainly a challenge. Really an oasis of woods in the middle of Philadelphia. If you've never been here, definitely a great course. Very popular. A lot of different holes, plenty of different ways to play it. And I believe that was Rob pitching out. Didn't quite have a look, but good to get out there. Gabe trying to get up and over the log. And Matt with a look for his par, and he nails it. So 407-foot par 3. Not the easiest, especially for these guys, but Matt able to get the pars pretty good. Alex went way long, trying to make his comebacker for a par, and oh, just hits band. That needs to sit down. And it does, thankfully. So, off the cage from pretty far away. Nice attempt to save the par. It was a low ceiling trying to get out there. So, nice strong putt. The rest of these guys will be tapping in. And we'll head on to the next hole. Hole 3 is a short hole, very short hole. It's around the corner. Parking lot right side is out of bounds. Blind from the tee. Ooh, skips off something, but back in bounds. Pretty fortunate by Matt. Gabe looks like he gave it a little bit more height. I think I got caught up in that first tree, so we'll see where he wound up. Rob going with the standstill, just trying to get it over. Oh, and hits the tree, rolls back. I believe that stayed in bounds, so he'll have a long up and down. And just over the hood of the car for Alex. Winds up in a good spot. It's really hard to penetrate all the way to the basket here. A flip-up backhand on Hyzer will really kind of get you there. Ooh, and off one of the cars. Not the greatest spot to park. These cars look like they're actually in the grass. I'm not sure if there's a different event going on or if they're just kind of always in the way. But definitely a unique obstacle for these players to try to navigate. Does start to slope down more severe the further behind the pin you go. So running it from these distances is difficult, but Jesse gives it a really good bid. Hits the band and the cage. Maybe even tickled a couple chains, but not able to get it to stick in. Oh, and that looks so good the entire way by Matt. But again, just an inch or two off. And a lot of metal being hit by these guys, but nobody able to card the birdie. I think other than, yeah, I think we missed one of Gabe's upshots. I think he was early in and just had to pitch out. Everybody else, I think, is tapping in their par. For a 192-foot hole, certainly tricky. It's a tricky shot shape. Like I said, a backhand flip-up put on Hyzer will kind of get you there, but it's hard to get that line to push all the way to the basket, so not too bad for these guys. Hole 4 is 288 feet, pretty straight downhill and then up at the end, kind of thrown across a little gully. And Matt throws a bit too high, gets through a lot of the stuff, and winds up at the bottom where a lot of shots are going to end up. You really have to throw something hard and low to get up the hill on the other side of the gully. Rob also pulls this a little bit, but gets most of the way through, and he is up across the ravine, and I think he will have maybe a long look at it. It was very early for Alex, but there's actually some air room around there. Gets an interesting skip. Must have hit a log or something, and he kind of trickled down to the bottom as well. And this is straight, but even a little too high as well. Starts to fade out, but yeah, he might be circle 2. Jesse looking for a birdie putt. Yeah, you see from the tee pad, the tee shot, it's a pretty small window these guys are trying to hit. They all threw a little bit too high, but you also don't want to throw it too low because you have to throw over kind of a row of bushes. So nice up for Alex. And yeah, even Gabe has a look at this putt. The bottom of the valley is closer than it looks from the catch cam position. So these guys are looking at birdie putts. More metal being drawn by Matt. Just needs to get a little more oomph from that. Oh, and Jesse as well. Seen quite a few just barely off the cage of the band. And Rob finally able to correct for the group. Nice birdie. Gets through a lot of stuff and lands maybe 35, 36 feet. Call that a circle 2 putt. And that brings Rob back to even par. So pretty good overall for all these guys as we move over to hole 5. .278 feet uphill. Forehand is a good shape if you have a good turning backhand. That'll work as well. And great shot by Rob. Puts him to 20 feet. 278, easily playing over 300. Yeah, this is the backhand line. Ooh, just kicks off a tree. It's almost straight if you really push it near those trees on the right side. Just a slight turn will get you in the circle. But there's a lot more airspace out to the right, and that's what Alex was trying to take advantage of. Probably a good tree, keeping him from fading out a lot further. Right where he is, he should have an easy up and down. Jesse with big forehand. Gets it up high and kind of gets caught in the foliage up there. But he'll also have maybe a long look at it. If not, a pretty easy up and down. It is an elevated basket, so running it is a little bit more dangerous. But a couple of these holes so far have had downhill greens. This one does not, so a little safer to give it a bid. Gabe caught up on that left side, trying to give it a forehand go at it. Gets it to a nice 18, 20 feet. Does it have the height? Not quite. This definitely has the height. Oh, just a bit right side. These guys are all over these baskets. If they could just dial it in, this would be a putting show. A left for Jesse. And Rob with the best drive of the group. Oh! Hit a lot of chains. I thought that was in. Just kind of spit out left side. Going for the back-to-back birdies. He was that close, but have to settle for a par attempt. I'm not sure how far past that actually went. Okay, he's right there. Not a gimme. Obviously, still up to an elevated basket, but makes do. Obviously disappointed with that par after such a great drive, but sticking with the group pretty well. So all pars here, I believe, as we move on to the 232-foot hole 6. Less uphill than the last one, but slightly off the tee. Trying to hit that gap that you see right there, again with either a backhand turnover or a forehand. You want to stick to the left side of the fairway for most of the flight, as you get closer to basket, there's still some bushes and small trees to avoid. And these guys know that. They're trying to push that left side, but just a little off hitting that left side tree. This gets through the gap, but it's going to be a little bit too far right. Yeah, there's a lot of room to the right. You can get lucky getting through there. And honestly, that's not too bad. That'll be a circle 2 look for Alex. Jesse seems to want to go to the forehand more than the rest of them, which works out because a lot of holes so far have called for it, and it works out well for his favor. He's got a circle 1 putt. Gabe liked the idea, just turned it over a bit too much. And yeah, we can see all the stuff on the right side that kind of prevents you. You don't want to be on the right side approaching the screen. Gabe gives it plenty of width, a little too much height getting there. Matt going with the patent pending turnover. And skips up to 15 feet. Should be a good par save for him. Ooh. Little bit high, a little bit low. Ooh, just kind of whiffs that one. Oh, and that hit a lot of chains. Obviously, these older baskets, you have to putt a certain way. And, you know, the players that play in the pro division definitely know that. These guys working their way there. This is maybe the time that you learn those types of things. Adjusting your putt slightly for different types of baskets. But all these guys are local, so they should kind of know how these baskets play. Nonetheless, it's definitely, these are type of baskets that are certainly more difficult to putt on. So as Alex taps in, we will move over to hole 7. 320-foot par 3. All the holes on this layout, at least for this tournament, are par 3s. Pretty much straight all the way. Matt pulls it a little bit right, hits a tree, kicks to the left side. Jesse kind of does the opposite. Even if it missed that tree, that was going pretty far left, so he might be fortunate just to stay in the fairway. Rob throws a bit high, but flippy enough disc to stay straight enough. Catching that log in a pretty decent roll, so he'll have a maybe circle's edge putt. Alex going maybe with a slight left-right fade, gets caught up in the trees, but rolls back to maybe a better, more favorable position for his upshot. Gabe looking maybe for the flip up. Also getting caught up on that left side. So you can see you can kind of get lost on the off the fairway pretty easily if you stay on the fairway. It's pretty open. There's a lot of these little shrubs on the left and the right that if you're not pretty much straight in front of it, or if you have a clean shot all the way up to the green, will very much be getting in your way. That looks like he's going with the forehand turnover. Goes inside of that tree, but it works out. He will be able to likely save his par from there. Alex happy to just lay up for his par. And a long par save opportunity for Gabe, and he nails it. That was easily 50, 55 feet. Nice putt for Gabe to save the par. And Rob with the only birdie look on the card. Dead center. Right on the pole. A little bit of hyzer, so it goes down into the cage. Robs is battling up and down above even, but he's kind of saved himself with those longer birdie putts. Jesse knows that one barely stayed in. Thanking the basket for that. Maybe the same thing with Alex. This basket, for whatever reason, seems to like to catch discs, even though it's exactly the same as the others. So unfortunate bogey for Matt. Everybody else, par or better. Let's move over to hole 8, 247 feet. This row of trees that we're looking at, kind of hedgy, bushy trees right in front of us, is kind of what you have to get over. But there's also, for having to throw over, there's a low ceiling for that. A big backhand flex, you can kind of go around them as well. But that's kind of a tricky shot, so it's kind of more of a trick shot type of hole here. Either going left or right of this bush or up and over it. So far, all of these guys have not been able to do so. This one has the height. Oh yeah, this is looking good. Oh, beautiful shot by Gabe. The putt on the last hole definitely giving him a little bit of confidence. And on a pretty tricky hole, puts it inside the bullseye. Matt looking to match. Oh, a little bit left side. So Jesse fortunate to stay in the middle of the fairway, giving him plenty of swing room. But trying to get it to go straight that high is going to be tough. With this often we're going to be hyzering out. Matt a little bit left side, so he's going with the spike hyzer. Good tree, keeping him close. He'll have an opportunity to save his par from inside the circle. Alex went pretty far left, so he'll have a long look. Oh yeah, pretty far look. Actually, maybe circle two's edge. That was a lot closer than it's kind of seemed after the tee shot. Oh, Jesse trying to save the par, not able to. And Rob with another great birdie putt. Similar distance to the last hole, so 2 in a row, getting him under par. Ooh, trying to sneak out, but low enough. Alex is able to keep that in the basket. And it seems like these guys might be kind of learning. You got to keep it low here. Or at least soft enough that it doesn't push back out. Kicking off the pole. And Gabe rewarded with a great tee shot. Able to essentially just tap in his birdie, bringing him to just 1 over, a couple strokes behind Rob. On to the last hole of this front 9, 294 feet. Pretty much straight shot off the tee for most of the way, but you wanted to have a pretty strong finish at the end. Basket is right on the other side of this log, so you kind of want to get to that log and be fading in front of it, even get past it all the way to give yourself a putt back. You kind of just don't want to be getting caught up in the trees. And I think Gabe didn't get caught up in the trees. He looked like he was right in front of that log, so he'll have a look at it. Alex going with a little bit more of the straight to hyzer and gets all the way up to the log as well, so him and Gabe look like they have a similar putt coming up. And great shot by Matt. Gets almost all the way to the end of the log. We'll see how close he actually is once we get up there. Jesse staying away from the right side trees. Oh, gets caught up last second, but still pretty close. Might have actually gone a little bit long. So this tournament run by BS Upshot is using the colored divisions. instead of the traditional MA1, MA2, MA3 type. So Rob, Alex, Matt, and Gabe are all in the white division. RAD, I believe, is how it's distinguished. Oh, and on cue, Jesse. Great birdie putt. The reason why we have 5-player card, Jesse is the only player in his division, one division up in the blue, RAH. So he is, we can declare it now, the winner of his division, being the only one in that one. But the rest of these players are playing for competing against each other as the 4 players in the white division. So just some bonus coverage having Jesse on here, and of course always more competition. Trying to win your card. More opportunities from some highlights as we just saw from Jesse. So as these guys finish up the 9th hole. We're going to take a look at the shot of the round contender. A lot of good putts, some good drives, and yep, it's got to be Gabe's circle 2 putt. Beautiful right side chains on Hyzer. And thank you to our Patreon family. If you're interested in becoming a patron of Hyzer Media, you can head over to patreon.com/HyzerMedia, where we have a lot of great benefits, including getting your name on our title slide. We do giveaways, as well as highlights of every tournament that we cover. That is not available anywhere else. So, thanks for watching this front 9. Be sure to head over to the back 9, and we'll see you over there.